We live in interesting times. Here are today's stories.
After months of turmoil, Giuseppe Conte sworns as Italy's new prime minister. Mariano Rajoy forced out as Spain's prime minister in confidence vote. Sisi sworn in for second Egyptian presidential term. Europe sets a high bar on privacy with GDPR.
Hello everyone, I am Jeromia San Vicente Abad. Join us today as we bring you news from around the globe. This is Eagle News Italy.
The swearing-in of the new government took place in a ceremony at the Quirinale Palace in Rome. Lega's leader Matteo Salvini and M5S leader Luigi Di Maio reached an agreement to form a coalition government and assigned 18 ministerial posts available after a 4-hour-long meeting. President Mattarella gave his blessing to all the ministerial posts proposed by Mr. Salvini and Mr. Di Maio, and he had previously vetoed the anti-Euro economist Paolo Savona from taking the position as economy minister, who will now become Italy's new European Affairs minister. Mr. Conte's government aims to cut taxes and boost welfare spending, while also wanting to overhaul EU rules on immigration and budgets.
For our other top stories, Rajoy has been ousted as Spain Prime Minister via confidence vote. ABC correspondent Joy Maranan for more.
Spain's parliament ousted Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy in a no-confidence vote, sparked by fury over his party's corruption scandals, with his socialist arch-rival Pedro Sanchez taking over. An absolute majority of 180 lawmakers voted for the motion to allow the applause and shoutouts of "Yes, we can," even if Sanchez faces a tough road ahead as he will govern with an even smaller minority than Rajoy. The 63-year-old veteran leader got up and shook hands with Sanchez before leaving the lower house without saying a word. Rajoy had already admitted defeat minutes before the vote, knowing that an absolute majority of lawmakers, as diverse as Catalan separatists and Basque nationalists, had pledged their support for the no-confidence motion.
Soy consciente de la responsabilidad que asumo, del momento político tan complejo que vive nuestro país, y lo que puedo manifestar es que, además de ser plenamente consciente, voy a abordar todos los desafíos que tiene nuestro país con humildad, con entrega y sobre todo con mucha determinación, primero para transformar y modernizar nuestro país, que es lo que ha hecho siempre el Partido Socialista cuando ha gobernado, y en segundo lugar para atender las urgencias sociales de muchísima gente que sufre precariedad y que sufre desigualdad.
Sanchez, Spain's 46-year-old opposition leader, instigated the no-confidence motion after a court confirmed that the vast system of bribes given to former PP officials in exchange for lucrative public contracts was implemented between 1999 to 2005. After years of anger over the scandals tainting the PP, corruption finally got the better of the party and sealed Rajoy's downfall. I am Frances Jamaranan, always one with 25.
Egypt President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has been sworn in for the second term in office. Let's hear more from our correspondent, Lynn Jane Bulaklak.
Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi sworn in for a second 4-year term in office as the country faces major economic and security challenges. Sisi took the oath in a packed house and in front of members of his government after winning 97% of valid votes in the March presidential election. Fighter jets drew an Egyptian flag in the sky above Cairo, while military helicopters flew over the capital center as the president made his way to parliament, where he was greeted with a 21-gun salute.
لقد واجهنا سويا الإرهاب الغاشم الذي أراد أن ينال من وحدة وطننا الغالي، وتحملنا معا مواجهة التحديات التي خلفها لنا الإرث الثقيل من التحديات الاقتصادية والاجتماعية والسياسية، وما نجم عنها من آثار سلبية على مناحي الحياة كافة.
Sisi, who as army chief ousted Egypt's first freely elected president Mohamed Morsi after mass street protests in 2013, won his first term in 2014 with an overwhelming majority of the vote. He faced no serious competition in his run for re-election. His only opponent, Musa Mustafa Musa, was relatively unknown and a fervent Sisi supporter himself. All other political contenders were either sidelined or withdrew. 7 years after the January 2011 uprising that toppled Hosni Mubarak's regime, Sisi will have two major challenges to tackle in his second term: security and economic recovery. I am Linjane Bulaklak, 1 with 25.
Europe sets a high bar on privacy with new rules. ABC correspondent Lovely Wanag for more detail.
The president of the European Data Protection Board, Andrea Jelinek, introduces this new independent body whose main role is to contribute to the implementation of the GDPR. EU's flagship new data protection laws came into effect on Friday, May 25, but hit an early hitch as some major US websites were blocked to European users. Los Angeles Times and Chicago Tribune newspapers were some of those who became inaccessible on the other side of the Atlantic, following the entry into force of the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR. The EU has billed the GDPR as the biggest shake-off of data privacy regulations since the birth of the web, stating that it sets new standards in the wake of the recent Facebook data harvesting scandal. EU's flagship new data protection laws came into effect on Friday, May 25, but hit an early hitch as some major US websites were blocked to European users.
Consent has to be freely given, and you have to have it written in a way people understand. Not just lawyers, people have to understand, and if there is a forced consent, there is no consent.
The law says that individual users must explicitly grant permission for their data to be used. Also, it establishes their right to know who is processing their information and what it will be used for. Parents will be the ones to decide for their children until they reach the age of consent. I am Lovely Wanag, and I am 1 with 25.
Those were our top stories. Stay with us with lifestyles and sports when we return.
Hello everyone, I am Zavina Danielle Balsita, and here are the lifestyle features for today.
Imposing skeleton of a newly discovered species of carnivorous dinosaur is on show in the Gustave Eiffel Lounge after it is sold at auction. The dinosaur, which was discovered in the United States, is estimated to be worth up to 1.8 million euros. It is 9 meters long and 70% complete, and this impressive skeleton belongs to a unique, unknown theropod specimen.
The theropods are a suborder of dinosaurs containing most large carnivores. The skeleton for sale in auction was discovered in 2013 at a site on the Morrison Formation in Wyoming, USA, one of the world's richest sources for dinosaur fossils. For this special event, the skeleton has been fitted to a stainless steel structure designed to evoke the Eiffel Tower. Part of the funds will be donated to associations including Sea Shepherd at the request of the current owner, while the rest will go towards further excavations. Major Tolkien exhibit opens in Oxford. Let's hear Irene Gabriel for more.
The University of Oxford unveiled a once-in-a-generation exhibition of materials related to the Lord of the Rings author J.R.R. Tolkien, featuring previously unseen objects from several countries. Tolkien, maker of Middle-earth, which opened in its Bodleian libraries, presents manuscripts, artworks, maps, letters, and artifacts in the biggest display indicates on the British author whose works gave rise to the hugely successful film series. Some of the exhibits are returning to Oxford, where Tolkien spent most of his adult life, for the first time since his death in the historic English city in 1973. The displays showcase the range of John Ronald Reuel Tolkien's output, from early abstract paintings and tales he wrote for his children to material related to works published posthumously. Among the centerpiece of the exhibition are some loans, rare draft manuscripts, and exquisite illustrations for The Hobbit, Tolkien's breakthrough published in 1937, and his 1954 follow-up, The Lord of the Rings. Personal aspects of his life are evoked, including childhood and student days, his career as a scholar of literature, and his family life. The displays include numerous items loaned by his third son Christopher Tolkien, notably the writing desk and chair from the home office where the author created his fantastical swords. Among the materials from Marquette University are early plot notes for The Hobbit, showing how Tolkien changed the names of some key characters such as the famous wizard Gandalf. Bodleian organizers hope visitors will also explore Tolkien's relationship with Oxford. Born in South Africa, he was raised in and around Birmingham but arrived in Oxford as an undergraduate at Exeter College. He returned as a professor of English language and literature at Merton College, becoming friends with other rising literary figures there, including C.S. Lewis. The exhibition runs until October 28 and hopes to attract 100,000 visitors. I am Ira Jean Gabriel, and I am one with 25.
Now this next report will definitely make you hungry. Angeli Nugid will take us on a street food tour.
Milan hosts the second edition of the Street Food Truck, a festival of delicious specialties from all around the country. Italy has a rich and diverse street food scene, represented by the culture and history of specific areas with different cooking techniques. This year, the second edition of Celebration of Street Food filled the Leonardo da Vinci Square with trucks and caravans, serving every imaginable kind of delicacy to be eaten on the spot. The street food on offer ranges between sweet and savory. Entry to the festival is free, and in addition to street food, it also features live music, entertainment, workshops, and presentations. Numerous street food fairs now operate throughout Italy to offer their best regional specialties in a festive atmosphere. For Milan, I'm Angeli Nugid, EBC Italy Bureau correspondent, and I am one with 25.
Stay tuned for sports.
Hi, I'm Robily Malabanan, and here are our sports news. The National Basketball Association announced its third Africa Game.
The National Basketball Association and the National Basketball Players Association announced that the NBA Africa Game 2018, the NBA's third game in Africa, will take place Saturday, August 4 at 5 p.m. Central Africa Time at Sun Arena at Times Square in Pretoria, South Africa. The announcement was made at a press conference in Johannesburg by NBA Vice President and Managing Director for Africa, Amado Gallo Fall. The NBA Africa Game 2018 will once again feature a Team Africa versus Team World format. Team Africa will be composed of players born in Africa or with direct family ties to the continent, and Team World will be composed of players from the rest of the world. Team Africa will include some of the league's biggest stars like Joel Embiid, Alvaro Camino, Bismack Biyombo, Cheick Diallo, Evan Fournier, and Serge Ibaka, while Team World will include DeMar DeRozan, Harrison Barnes, Danilo Gallinari, Rudy Gay, Chris Middleton, and Hassan Whiteside. Full rosters of players, coaches, and legends will be announced on a later date.
Really, as the elite level in basketball, the NBA, we understand that also we have a responsibility to really uplift and shine a spotlight in our entire sport.
The NBA Africa Game 2018 will take place following the 16th edition of Basketball Without Borders Africa. In honor of the centenary of Nelson Mandela, the game will be played in support of Nelson Mandela Foundation.
Now for other sports news, Italian football team AC Milan risks participation from European competition.
Chinese-owned Italian football team AC Milan risks to be excluded from participating next season's Europa League for violating financial fair play rules. UEFA announced last week that the 7-time European champions had failed to convince officials they are financially sound, and afterwards referred the case to the adjudicatory chamber of its financial control unit to recommend an appropriate punishment. UEFA are concerned over AC Milan's financial stability after it was acquired by Chinese businessman Li Yonghong from Silvio Berlusconi for €740 million in April last year. The club spent more than €200 million on new players in the summer and have a massive high-interest loan of €300 million from US hedge fund Elliott Management. On the last Serie A season, Milan finished in 6th spot, qualifying themselves for the second-tier competition Europa League for a second consecutive season, missing out on the major money-spinning Champions League.
If Milan were to be excluded, the Italian squad would become the highest-profile club to be banished from European competition, following Spanish club Malaga, Red Star Belgrade, and Turkey's Galatasaray, who in the past were banned for 1 year due to failing to meet financial criteria.
Chris Froome wins the Giro d'Italia 2018. Here is our correspondent Angel Mark Lapira for more details.
Britain's Chris Froome completed a sensational comeback to win the Giro d'Italia 2018. 33-year-old Froome became the first Briton to win the race in the Giro's 101-year history after a 115-kilometer closed circuit race through the streets of the Italian capital, Rome. His triumph on the Imperial Forums, where Ireland's Sam Bennett took the 21st and final stage, capped a long chaotic journey for the Briton. From the departure in Jerusalem, a historical novelty of this Giro, to the Alps of Piedmont and Valle d'Aosta, the 4-time Tour de France winner endured what he called the greatest battle of his career. Froome is now the reigning champion in all 3 of cycling's Grand Tours, the Giro d'Italia, Tour de France, and Tour of Spain, and becomes only the 3rd rider to achieve the feat after Belgian Eddy Merckx and France's Bernard Hinault. Froome's maiden Giro triumph has also set up the possibility he could target a rare Giro d'Italia Tour de France double in the same calendar year, which was last achieved by Italian rider Marco Pantani way back in 1998. I am Angel Mark Lapira, 1 with 25.
This is all for sports news. I am Robbie Malabanan and I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Robbie. This is Eagle News Italy. Join us again next time as we bring news that matters to you. Visit our website at Eaglenews.PH, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at Eaglenews.PH. I am Jeromia San Vicente Abad, and I am 1 with 25.